Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Paul's Week.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening, Albert. Good evening, Chinelo. Good evening, Fidel. I promise to try as much as possible
Good evening.
to be fast today because I'm monitoring the markets. But at the same time, I want to just bring you some major updates on the situation in the markets and to give you my view of what's happening next as regards the current bull run. So let's get cracking as usual. So we will see that seen a crash. I think that was just after Friday. Yeah, that was after last week's broadcast. The market started dumping then. I woke up on Saturday and saw the market was already up. Uh, yeah, I was taken by surprise. I mean, like many other people. But then I found out that there were a lot of what you call over leveraged loans, which cause funding rates. Funding rates is something I've talked about before. These over leveraged loans cause funding rates to be very high for the most part. So because of that, you have exchanges having to deleverage by shorting the positions that those people have on the markets. As a result of that, you have very huge surge in a downtrend or in the downforce of the price action, and that's exactly what happened. That's what happened on Saturday morning. So the algorithms on the exchanges are sort of programmed now when the funding rate is at the highest, the exchange bots go into overdrive and sell huge volume on the market. Now the question will be, why do they do that? The reason they do that is because that's the most profitable point for the exchange. Frankly speaking, once they start to operate like that, what it means is that they are the most vantage position versus traders who are trading on leverage. So people who are trading on leverage are basically borrowed money from the exchange to execute their trades. So for the exchange, once those people are quite over leveraged and the funding rate is high, it means that the exchange is technically running out of money to support their positions. So in order to make sure that the exchange doesn't run out of money, the exchange opens short positions against the traders. All exchanges do it, by the way. And what that results in, it's what you call funding rate resets. So most of the time, the funding rate resets and then cools down and it goes back to negative. Usually it's supposed to be negative. Once it's positive, it means that the market's overheated. There's bound to be some reaction. So that's what happened over the weekend. But of course, because that's happening against the backdrop of an already negative price action, that contributed to the downforce to the 40s. But because the 40s have a lot of what you call demand levels, it was quickly brought up back to 47, and I think it didn't quite go back to 47 throughout the week. In the course of the week, it actually went up to the 50s when there were concerns about the CPI data coming out of the US, which caused the weakening of the dollar. But it started going down again today because the figures that came out of the US were stronger than expected. So the US dollar went up. So that's why we've had that correction again today. But today we'll talk about, why we're yet to recover back. We'll talk about the sentiment, we'll talk about the regulation, a bit about the regulation. If you were watching, I think that was Wednesday or thereabouts, the US lawmakers invited about 6 crypto bosses to Washington. I didn't have time to watch it, but I think it was a good moment, especially for the lawmakers, that it will give them a better understanding of what's really happening in the markets and help their decision making. On the other hand, I think it's also some level of awareness generally and adoption for the market. So I think it's all in all, I think it was a good idea. In another news, the UK FCA said that they were not going to pay compensation to anybody that lost money investing in crypto. And I was smiling to myself, thinking that, anybody that's really investing in crypto will not need to go to the to the FCA to claim compensation unless they involve themselves in the scam ab initio. But I mean, I understand the posturing of the FCA. It's a poorly funded branch of the government, as it were, and they really don't have so much power. So I understand that position fairly well. But that's that in terms of general news. In terms of what's happening with the risk, the bull run assessment itself, what we're having now, or what we have had last weekend, was a drop to the lows of September. As I will show you on the charts, the lows of September being tested is almost like having what you call, they call it a 3 points break, no, test, retest, test, break, and retest. It's almost like we have a retest of the levels of supply from September. Amidst that, we have a situation where the exchanges are running low on Bitcoin. So except the days, usually the days before the dump, like there's another inflow from what I understand today now from Wales. Except the days before the dump, usually the exchanges are generally at all-time low in terms of supply of actual Bitcoins. So what it means is that people are buying Bitcoin and are taking it off the exchanges. Secondly, the hash rate, which is the transaction approval rate on the blockchain of Bitcoin itself, is at an all-time high, higher than when we dropped in the month of May. So in the month of May, the hash rate was an all-time high. Then China banned miners and sent their miners out of China, and then the hash rate dropped, and then the market crashed. So generally speaking, the hash rate is usually a good index of price action, because what it tells you is that there's a lot of activity on the blockchain of Bitcoin, and that increase in activity automatically reflects in the price eventually. So if you're looking at the price now and it doesn't make sense, like it's not dropping further and it's not coming back up, it's because everybody's a bit cautious. But even the bears are cautious, because when you have conflicting metrics like this, usually it's a sign that something big is about to happen. So the market's been dumping for God knows how many, 4 weeks now. And yeah, the edges, quote and unquote, or the limits of the range. At the same time, you are having a situation where the hash rate is at all-time high and the miners are not selling their coins. Instead, retailers are buying the dip. So it doesn't line up. Another thing I could have added actually is Apologies for the technical glitch. I usually try to disconnect from my home Wi-Fi when I'm streaming because I try to use my mobile network to the optimize the bandwidth, but apparently the VPN on my mobile network started misbehaving, so it sort of disconnected me. Sorry about that. Let me try to reconnect. Apologies once again. I hope it's probably disconnected my live stream now. Yeah, disconnected the live stream. Yeah, so I need to. Stop the live stream. Please give me a second. I'm trying to sort out my Instagram live feed. This is ridiculous. Anyways, technology and the woes of. Anyways, let's continue. Fortunately, that means I'll be able to, yeah, I'll be able to start the live on Instagram. I'll probably just cut the one on YouTube. Yeah. So once again, sorry for the breaking transmission. It was due to power internet failure, not power failure. It's pure technology failure. So basically, what I was saying before the internet was disconnected was that there are conflicting metrics um, happening right now. So on-chain metrics, exactly the same thing that I was saying in the month of June and July, that what was happening to the price did not correlate with what's happening on-chain. And what that meant was that that was not the end of the bull run. I mean, I said that repeatedly almost to a fault back in um, back in July. And I'm sure people have been wondering that, do I have a crystal ball? Wasn't like I had a crystal ball, but it just didn't line up. It's like trying to solve for X in algebra. There has to be an equation, and it needs to things needs to agree, things needs to align essentially um, on each side of the equality side for you to have a proper equation. So this equation is not balanced. That's what I'm saying. The price action is not reflective of the fundamentals, and either is it reflective of the on-chain analysis. And in today's knowledge sharing session, I'll talk about correlations with the price of BTC, and so that people can have an idea when the price of BTC is behaving funny. It might help to check some key metrics to understand um, why the price is acting funny, because there are things that are related to the price. They don't drive the price, but they determine the behavior of price sometimes. So it's important to have them at the back of your mind when you're thinking about what the price of Bitcoin is doing per time. I'll talk about that in knowledge sharing session today. So having said that, the first major news I wanted to talk about today was WhatsApp. Who would have thought? WhatsApp is probably the biggest. Yeah, Instagram is still tagging behind. Probably the biggest messaging app right now. And this week they decided that they're going to launch a functionality that allows you to send crypto through WhatsApp. I think that's ingenious. I think that's great for adoption. So ordinarily, if you had this kind of news on a good day, this kind of news will have pumped the price by like 10 or 20%. Really, really on a normal day. But because it's in a sort of downtrend correction, it's not reflecting in the news. This is a huge one because I mean, WhatsApp has hold on a second, I was checking that just a minute ago. WhatsApp users, I think it's probably in the region of yeah, yeah, it's in hundreds of millions. India has the largest, which is about 390 million, according to Google. And then you have people like Brazil, 100 and something million. I mean, let's say it's 500 million conservatively, which I mean, it's definitely more than that because there might not be, accountability for 2 billion. Yeah, I just saw the figure. So think about it. 2 billion active users worldwide. That is huge. And WhatsApp is going to allow send crypto via WhatsApp. It's currently only active in the United States, but once it works in the United States, they're probably going to launch it to other countries. It's huge for adoption because what it then means is that it really brought um, crypto to the doorsteps. I mean, not forgetting that for this is a Facebook company, Facebook is trying to play in the background and trying to find a way to play in this crypto market by all means. But they are competitors. Like I would say, there's an app called Punk Panda that I've introduced to guys on the WhatsApp. Punk Panda pays you tokens for basically using your mobile phone for social media. So the same way you use WhatsApp, use Punk Panda, download the Punk Panda app, and you're able to collect tokens based on your level of activities. I've not really talked too much about it on the platform because I see that people don't understand it properly. And I've not really had time to really explain what Punk Panda is really about. But I think it's a very good opportunity. If you're already registered, I think try as much as possible to use it. It doesn't cost you anything, and it gives you token it gives you tokens. That token is currently at pre-sale. It was originally at 10 cents. Is now at about 41 or 50 cents. So whenever the coin eventually launches, it is probably going to be like $1 thereabouts. So I mean, you're using WhatsApp, you're using Punk Panda, but you're getting. So as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a better option to get paid using the same social media. If you need a referral code, that's my invitation code. No, that's not mine actually. That's the second one is mine. That's my inviters code. The second code is my invitation code, the 117784. So if you want to earn while you start, just download the Punk Panda app. Use 117784 as your referral code, and immediately start to earn. And invite all your friends and share your contacts. You're gonna get PPM, which is the Punk Panda token for each chat you send. You can even have calls. I've had calls with people on it. The call is clearer, well, the same quality with WhatsApp, and the encryption is actually a lot more than WhatsApp. The encryption is military grade. Actually, should have done a whole session about it. I didn't think about it. So maybe next week I'm going to do a session on Punk Panda and why I think that you might be better off using them than using WhatsApp. Moving on from WhatsApp, I talked about, okay, yeah, I didn't talk about this. So there is every evidence currently that Bitcoin is preparing for major move. I will show you some things on the charts when we get to technical analysis. But like I said, when the on-chain metrics not matching with price action and with fundamentals, then something is about to change. Something is about to happen. It's almost like how do you say it now? When I think this happened in the tropics a lot in Nigeria, when it's about to rain, but on this other side, the sun is still shining brightly. Now, if you're looking from the view of that other side, you can see that it's the sun is so bright there and it's so hot. But when you look at the other side of the horizon, you see that everywhere is dark. I remember back in Lagos, there was one day like that. I was coming from VI. I was staying in Baghdad at the time, and Coming from VI, it was pouring like crazy. And, immediately I stepped on the third mainland bridge. The rain just stopped. And I looked ahead of me and the sun was still shining on the mainland. And, I was thinking to myself that, if I get to the mainland, I tell them that, I was almost swimming in the flood in VI, they will just be laughing at me because everything seemed okay on the mainland at the time. There was sunshine. So when you see rain and sunshine, you know that one is going to eventually. So when you see this kind of conflicting metrics uh, in the on-chain versus the price, it tells you that something is going to change very soon. I was reading some analysts today saying that this particular scenario that we have is similar to where we were in 2017 before the last leg up for Bitcoin. So I'm of the opinion that definitely there's an imminent move around the corner. Definitely. So that's why I'm still, waiting patiently to see, when that move is gonna happen. It's obvious that that move is inevitable. In another news, Bitmart is I think the Chinese exchange. They were hacked for $200 million over the course of the week. These hacks are getting less exciting because you see, once they're hacked like that, because all the people in the crypto community pretty much now know themselves, all they need to just determine is which coins were taken. Once they determine which coins they're taking, they just talk to developers on each of those blockchain and they're able to trace the wallets. Once they trade the wallets, like the last hacker that I was trying to rob, I can't remember that smart contract. They just talked to the guys in Theta. The guys in Theta just blocked his wallets. And that was it. That was when the guy now said he was playing with them, that he was doing it for fun. Of course, if they didn't catch him like that, he would have said he was doing it. So for me, it's not a big deal that, they probably hacked them through, one of their users or one of their staff. But because eventually the crypto gets on chain, that's where it's difficult for the theft to happen. The same way the guys that hacked Binance back in 2018, 2007, 2018, thereabouts. They couldn't spend the bitcoins they got, they couldn't spend it because immediately those wallets were blacklisted. And if the actual coins are actually tracked. So it's a no-brainer. I don't know why hackers are still wasting their time trying to be hacking the fiat system as opposed to the crypto system, because really and truly the footprints are all over the place. Unless they're able to sell off black market or OTC before they are trapped, which is very, very, 200 million is a lot of money. $200 million is a lot of money across board. So it's not easy to pull that amount of money off and get it sold quite easily. So for me, I think they're no-brainer. I know that people who are skilled in those areas will try them and just for the fun of it, see whether they can, get through with it. But on the blockchain layer, and this talks back to the discussion we were having last week. Last week I was talking about those layers on the blockchain, and I was saying that the exchanges are sitting on the database layer, where whilst their wallets, their cold wallets are sitting on the blockchain layer. So it's easy to hack anybody on the exchange layer because it's pretty much a web database. But moving that transaction now on the blockchain is where it gets tricky, because then everything is logged. Everything is open source. The wallet you're moving to is available to everybody. The history of that wallet is available to everybody. Every movement that wallet does is available to everybody as well. So at that point, it becomes tricky. So for me, I don't know why they don't think the guys probably eventually get caught, because you have to be able to sell it, and there's no way to off ramp without going through any of the major exchanges as well after you've already gone through the blockchain. So yeah, interesting news, but yeah, getting boring because eventually you'll come back and say what's there. There was a story this week about Ethereum, and it was by the Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin, and it was talking about Ethereum version 2 and what they're trying to do to improve scalability. So for people that don't know, Ethereum is like the petroleum of crypto. How do I mean? It has a lot of usage. Like it has so many things you can use Ethereum for. Because of that usage, so it's what how do they say that? Its advantage is also its disadvantage because due to high usage, Ethereum has a lot of network traffic. And the way the network is set up, the higher the traffic, the higher the transaction fees. The transaction fees get overheated because more than 80% of the solutions that are built on blockchain are built on Ethereum. Call it DeFi, call it NFTs, play to earn. Most of these technologies are built on ERC20. So because of that, there's significant demand on the blockchain. And that's why you have layer two solutions that are trying to be like Lightning Network or Ethereum, meaning they are trying to take away the stress of scalability from Ethereum and form a second layer on top of Ethereum and just use Ethereum as a settlement layer. I've discussed this before, by the way. I can't remember which of the months now, when I was saying usually you have the blockchain layer where you have the wallets. And for a blockchain that is very big, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, and that has a lot of usage, people also build layer two solutions. So they build blockchains that are sitting on the original blockchain. So good example is Lightning Network sitting on Bitcoin Network Exchange. I mean, network blockchain network. So Bitcoin is base layer one, and Lightning is sitting on top of it. So instead of having all the minor transactions go through the Bitcoin network and take 10 minutes before it gets confirmed, the Lightning Network can settle immediately and then almost like a batch job, run a reconciliation and settlement job at the end of the period and then settle that reconciliation as a blockchain transaction. Sorry for the technicality. I just saw, I thought I should mention that a bit just for people to understand why, Ethereum has layer two solutions like Polygon and the like. It's just because of scalability and because scalability makes the network very expensive. So the founder was saying that they're thinking of building scalability protocols into Ethereum that allows it to maintain a cheap transaction cost despite increasing network activity. I think it's just, let me not say that actually. I was going to say, I think it's just all talk. It's not all talk, but it's easier to propose than to actually implement. I think probably the best model might be just to stick with the layer two solutions like Polygon, because what that does is the layer two solutions are faster, they're smaller networks. They can run the transactions faster, and then they can use Ethereum as settlement layer. It's a lot of technical stuff. Sorry for the non-technical people on the call, but basically, it's a problem that's not going to go away as long as we have DeFi, we have NFT, we have meme tokens. There's always going to be demand for solutions like Ethereum. Of course, not to say that there are competitors like AVAX, Solana, and Light, but Ethereum is to the test of time. It's almost $500 million market cap now. So it's to the test of time in terms of scalability, in terms of security as well. I'll come to that security again shortly. So really, it's a tough one for Ethereum. Pepsi, we all know Pepsi. Pepsi is launching NFT collection next week. There's a trend that is going on. I don't know if you guys are observant, but there's a trend that is going on right now in which everybody's trying to get into NFTs. And last week I talked to you about Adidas. Adidas was looking to get people into NFT or signing up on their, I think it was their Twitter or something. And on the back of that, many companies are now beginning to try to position themselves either directly in the NFT space or provide opportunities for people to partake in the NFT or in the metaverse space, sorry. And NFTs are like they are I don't want to use progenitors really. but they're like forerunners to the idea of metaverse. So what are NFTs? Maybe I should start from there for the benefit of people who don't know. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. You can think of non-fungible tokens as like digital pieces of art. That's the simplest. It can be anything. It can be a piece of art. It can be code. It can be a phrase that's converted into an NFT. It can be a piece of music, or it can be scholarly article that's been converted to an NFT. But what it means is it's a unique digital item that cannot be replicated. So because of that, a lot of rich or people with high net worths have been very interested in investing in. It's almost like being a collector of, if you're a wealthy collector, you can be collecting what do you call them now? Classic cars, or you can be a watch collector in which you buy Rolex, Patek Philippe, Rado, and all the exotic wristwatches. And the reason you're collecting them is because they don't make so many of them. As a result of that, they tend to go up in value with time. So NFTs are the digital format of collectibles, essentially. And because of that, everybody's trying to position in it. And NFTs have now become highly sought after in the era of the metaverse. So you have, I think it was Barbados, yeah, Barbados that's trying to set up their I saw that in the news earlier in the week. Barbados trying to set up their embassy in the metaverse. So you don't need to come, you don't need to come physically to their embassy. You can get it in the metaverse and then connect to their embassy. Then I can't remember another town, so that's trying to put the entire town in the metaverse. It seems all crazy and stupid at the moment, but it's taking hold. And I mean, people like Decentraland and Sand, they have huge stakes and very huge financial backing in developing these things. So virtual reality and metaverse, it's imminent, and that's why you have people like Pepsi bottling to get into this space as well. And because I mean the generation coming after us are not like us, they're entirely born into the digital age. So it's more in vogue for them to want to show off digitally than to show physically. I mean, it doesn't make sense for most people who are grown up for it, but I mean, the kids play Roblox, they play Fortnite, they have skin games that they buy that they use as their badge of honor. Those things are the things that matter to them. It might not matter so much to people like us, but that's the world that they've grown in, and that's the world. That's what the world is going to be in the future. So yeah, am I a collector of the NFT? Not actively. I probably have one or two somewhere that I can't remember, but it's something to position for later in the future. But later in the future might be as close as 10 years. In another news, Solana survives another DGS attack. So DGS attack is like, how do I put it now? It's like a spamming attack on a website where a bot or a program is set to attack a particular website with demands. So just think about somebody jamming your phone line. The person is calling you persistently and is relentlessly calling. What that person is doing is not only, if you don't pick up, the person is utilizing your phone space. And you can't use your phone space because as long as the person is calling you, anybody else that's trying to call is blocked. So imagine that happening a million times or 100 million times on a particular network, on a particular site. What it does is it wears down the site, slows down the site. It might be so strong that you might need to take down the site. The first time this happened on Solana, they had to take down the entire site, the entire network, sorry. When it happened, it was just like, the attack was propagated across the network and just dragged down the network. But because they're partly centralized, let me put it that way. The Solana ecosystem, most of their servers are owned by the companies themselves. So it was easy for them to shut down the network completely and stop the attack. Now I think they've done something because it happened again during the week, but it wasn't an issue anymore. They were able to sort of get out of it. So it's really okay. It's good to hear. I mean, by the way, Solana probably one of those companies that has raised the most money in this year from venture capital funds. So I'm watching out for them coming here, actually through the bear market, because they have a lot of runway in terms of capital to spend. So there'll probably be, there'll be so many action on Solana network. As usual, our crypto, no, our Bitcoin OG, like I say, has done it again, as they say. He's bought the dip, and now they bought about 82 million worth of Bitcoin in the last 2 weeks. So MicroStrategy now has about 1,000 Bitcoins, and they're the biggest public quoted company that holds the largest. Well, they hold the largest amount of Bitcoin as public quoted company, physically speaking. I think it's MicroStrategy and El Salvador will be case studies in business schools for many, many years to come. Many, many years to come. And the reason I say that is because every success story warrants case study. And right now it doesn't look like it's something serious. But by the time we're done 10 years down this road, MicroStrategy will easily become one of the most capitalized and valued companies in the world, because what they're doing essentially is they are increasingly loading their balance sheets with Bitcoin. Now, for people who are accountants, you already understand what that means. For people who are not accountants, your balance sheet is like your statement of assets and liabilities. So when you begin to stack your asset column with something that continuously gains value every single year, on the average for the last 12 years, Bitcoin has done at least more than 50%. What that means is in 10 years' time, given the current inflation rate and current monetary policies in play, in 10 years' time, the least you can expect them to be is to be like 100x from their current value. Because as a company, they are providing value. It's a business analytic company, so they're generating value. But more than that, the rollover of their investments in Bitcoin, when they put it on their balance sheet, it compounds. So it's like compound interest. It compounds in value, and each time they're buying the dip. So the average, since they started buying last year, for instance, the average purchase price is still sitting around 29 or 27,000. That's the average price of all the Bitcoins that they have. So if they were to sell all their Bitcoins today, they're still almost 100% in Bitcoin. So now think about 10 years' time, when Bitcoin is maybe like 500K or 1 million, and they already have 100,000 now. What will be the evaluation at that time? And what will be the capacity of that company? I think it's a very solid long-term play. I don't do stocks, but definitely if I want to do stocks, these are the kind of stocks I would like to do, because it's not only a safe play, it's also a very long-term play. And the way they're playing it is that each time they make profit, they just dump it on Bitcoin, buying the dip. And if there's a major dip, they actually go back and raise capital from either credit notes or selling shares of the company. So I think it's very huge. I think they're going to be very huge. If the guy is not dead in 10 years' time, I think this is going to be a very huge success story from a business corporate standpoint. El Salvador is still shaky because it's a political infrastructure, but this is a corporate organization, and this is a board level decision. So I think it will be very fun. I'm always a fan of maybe it's because of business school, but so I'm always a fan of case studies, and just to understand what happened, in a particular business and why things turn in a particular way. So for me, I find it very fascinating that not only did the man himself buy into this, but he was able to get the board and the auditors to buy into it as well. And this is a publicly quoted company on the US stock exchange, so it's a big issue. It's a big one. So yeah, I'm always watching, trying to see what MicroStrategy is doing per time. And as usual, they're buying the dip. So kudos to MicroStrategy. In terms of yeah, what's happened in the market? Yeah, huge shave off in terms of capital from the market. There's been serious sell-off, 28 billion down since last week. 15 billion of that sitting in altcoins. Like somebody was calling me today asking, should he sell all his coins? That he's really afraid that somebody told him that we're not going to reach 70K in December, that we're never going to see 70K in December. So I said, why do you want to sell your coin? He said, that he needs money. I said, is it that you can't get the money somewhere? He said, yes, you can get somewhere, but this, the thing is not, it's not going to reach 70K in December. I was just wondering why you should still hold it. I said, well, I will just tell you my own personal experience that don't do what I did in December. Because if you do what I did last December, regret it. And I told you that because I needed some money last December. I sold my coins. I sold Kusama in the unit. Kusama is selling the hundreds now, for example. I sold, in fact, there are so many of them, I can give you like 10 that I sold in December last year, feeling that, oh, these things have not really moved. And here we are. Many of them have done 10, 20 times their value in last December. So if you're worried about the market, understand that the market moves in ebbs and flow, meaning, there's an upside and there's a downside, there's an upside, there's a downside. That's the way the market moves. But generally speaking, the market is in an upward trajectory. There are very few markets in upward trajectory, generally speaking. Gold has been coming down recent time, but when you compare it to the price in 1970, it's still in an upward trajectory. S&P 500 is also still in an upward trajectory. Bitcoin is also still, crypto generally is also still in an upward trajectory. So regardless of what's happening here, we're still very much in an upward trajectory. And that's the message I want to, make resonate with people tonight, that you need to understand that even though we are sitting in extreme fear now, and I've said I've been saying this since last year actually, that when fear and greed index is reading extreme fear, you can be too sure that you'll be profitable if you enter the market. Just give it 6 months. If I not most times not 6 months. Once you get to extreme fear, if you just start buying, if you just make it a strategy, a very simple strategy, check fear and greed index. Anytime fear and greed index is sitting in extreme fear, just buy and wait. By the time it flips to greed, check your wallet, you're already profitable. It's the simplest strategy. It's almost dumb, but it's the simplest strategy. Because when the market's in extreme fear, that's when everything is at a discount. So just like where we are now, everything is at a discount. Everybody's worried. Everybody's like, oh, is Bitcoin going to zero? It's not going to zero. It's just a correction, and I will show you on the chat shortly. In terms of market psychology, there are two ways to look at this. I think somebody asked me today as well, that where were we? In the short term, this is where we are. Panic. Everybody's like, everybody's telling I need to get out. In the short term cycle, but generally speaking, this is really where we are right now. It's almost like we're back to optimism. Like somebody was arguing with me, said he felt we were in euphoria in June. I said, yeah, well, maybe we're really in euphoria from an on-chain perspective. We're really in euphoria in June because the search term, there are very few ways you can check euphoria. So the way Google records what they call keywords, if you search for, Bitcoin, you see that it's nowhere near where we were in 2017, 2018. The search is not going up. Crypto itself is not going up as much. Even if you check for May and June, find out that it wasn't significant. When it becomes significant, that is when you know we're in euphoria. When you go on Google and the top trending word is crypto or Bitcoin, then you know it's time to exit the market. It's not gotten to that place at this point in time. So I believe we're just down the cycle. In the short term, yes, it's panic and everybody's selling. People are selling off, thinking that the end has come, not realizing that we're just in another cycle of correction, essentially. And because of that, people are freaking out, frankly speaking. But as I will show you on the charts now, we're just here. So put it in perspective. This is the weekly chart for Bitcoin. This is where we were in the month of April, May. So the week of the 12th of April was when we peaked out at 65K. Then we came down, and then we stayed down from May up until July. Now, that level was the 30,000 level between 29 and 30K. You can see the weeks down there. And if you remember in July, then I drew this circle in July saying that the price has now tried to break this zone more than 5 times and has not succeeded. Chances are the bottom is in. And I think it was the next week after I drew this cycle that the price started going up. So the price started going up from 30K, reached about 52K, then dropped down. It reached 52K in August, end of August, then dropped down in September to the current level of 42, not current level, but around 42, 43K. So basically what it did there in technical terms, you say it's a break and retest. So if this was the original barrier at 42K, it broke that barrier, then retested that barrier. Now, after retesting that barrier, usually on a smaller time frame, this is a buy signal. Once you see this kind of move, the market breaks a particular level, then retest it, and then can't break it. Everybody gets in, and that's why you saw the price shoot all the way to 69K without stopping. Now, the market is making another correction. It is tested that area once now. Since it's tested it, it's gone back. Now, it's not only gone back, it's gone back farther than that to the September level. So it didn't quite stay in the August level, sitting at the September level, which is 47K. So throughout this week, we've been dangling around here. If I break this down, let me break it down on the daily chart so that you see what's been happening. So this was Saturday when it touched down on 42 and ran back up. And the only reason it was able to touch down 42 was because it was a weekend. Major, futures exchanges are not open. Only the spot exchanges are able to do all their stuff. So you had that week down, and then it went back up to 49 and stayed there. Tried to wick down again, but got stopped out at 47. Picked out on Monday, I think. Yeah, picked out on Monday at almost 52K, then got rejected, and then started downtrending. Dropped down yesterday. Tried to break 47K, did not succeed. Tried again today, has not succeeded. So if we don't break 47K, then we're probably going to sit above 47K for a while and just move sideways like this. If we do break back upwards, we're probably going to follow this trajectory. And you ask me why this trajectory, and I checked the price feed from this time last year. This is exactly how it looks. It looks like this before the 10th and 11th of December, then it started going up like this. So if you follow this price feed, if the price goes up, let's say the price recovers over the weekend or recovers on Monday for any reason, then I expect the price to keep going up. Now, from an Elliott Waves analysis or perspective, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4 wave now. This seems to be the bottom of the 4th wave. This theory will only be invalidated if the market comes to close below 43K in the next 2 weeks. If it doesn't close below 43K in the next 2 weeks, then what we're going to have is going to look something like this. And I think I've drawn this before. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. 5 can go anywhere between 70 and 120K. I think the measure I have here is, I even had 96K. Before then, I had the 170K. But generally, if the price continues to go up, guaranteed we're going to hit 80K, guaranteed. 83K is guaranteed. 74K, that one is a done deal. If the price continues to go up. But what I can see from what has happened today is, even though the DXY, which is the US dollar index, gained a lot of strength today, and that was what I was going to talk about in knowledge sharing, and I still talk about it now. The correlations between the price of Bitcoin and other things. When the price of Bitcoin is going down, the DXY, which is the US dollar index, is usually going up. So if you look at, let me change to, what do we have there? We have daily. Let me change this to daily. So this is the DXY, the US dollar index. If you look at the US dollar index, you find out that it was going up. It's been going up. If you check the day it started shooting up, just make a mental note of this date. The date I have my cursor on now is the 10th of November, 2021. That's the day the DXY suddenly started shooting up. We come to Bitcoin and go to 10th of November. That's the day Bitcoin started coming down. That's it. Where is that now? Yeah. So it was the 10th that DXY started pumping, essentially, that Bitcoin started reacting negatively. So what caused this dump? Let me drill down to the hour. What caused the dumps today was because there was a pump on DXY when the news came out for, I think, I can't remember what of the data now. There's a US data that came out today. So yes, this drop is because of this pump. I'll show you the correlates. Yes. So this pump that you have here, this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that is now going up, was because of this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is now coming down. So you can see that as this is coming down now, this is trying to go up. So that's one of the primary points. It's primarily because many people see Bitcoin, many people see US as a stable coin. let me use that word. They see US and the US economy as a stable hedge against many assets. As a result, many people will usually want to hold US dollar in the case of any problem. But when US dollar is weak, people, because institutions are now seeing Bitcoin as an inflation hedge and as a hedge against other assets. So generally speaking, there is now an inverse correlation between both of them. The other one that has a positive correlation with Bitcoin is the S&P 500. Even though, that's, it's a slow index. It's almost like after the fact, but anytime S&P 500 is going up, you can expect that there's a very high chance that Bitcoin is also going up. So those are the major correlates. So in terms of what we should expect in the next week for the price of Bitcoin, there are two possibilities. From the way it looks here, it looks like this is probably going to break downward to the downside. That's the way it looks because it's been coming down. But again, we're almost like down to the bottom of the Bollinger. I don't think we're going to hit the bottom of the Bollinger, probably because the bottom of the Bollinger right now is 37,000, and we still have these 2 key levels. And that's why I have these lines. The reason I have the lines is because I wanted to delineate those 2 key levels are the key support levels for the price of Bitcoin. And you can see, despite all the dumps that we've had this week, it's still sitting above that 48K level. If we break 48K and break down below 47K, the next, 47K is actually next, 43K, sorry. 43K is the next level because 43K, the level that supported the price back in February and back in September. So if it breaks down as expected, Bitcoin usually does the unexpected for the most part. But if it breaks down as expected, I expect 43K to hold. If 43K holds into the coming week and continues to hold, what it then means is that we are forming some sort of a descending triangle. The prices are forming some sort of a descending triangle. A descending triangle is a price pattern that shows that the price is going to break to the upside more often than not. So again, that supports the thesis that a reversal is imminent. Sorry, I'm getting a bit technical here, but I just wanted to explain, the basis for some of the, I'm not like most YouTubers that will just tell you that the price is going up and keep buying the dip. I'll justify the reason why I say buying the dip. Another factor is Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is usually the function of, how much more Bitcoin do we have over the altcoins as a fraction of the overall cryptocurrency market capitalization. This has been the downside now from, when was this? Well, yeah, from basically October. It's tried to rebound in November, but it's still gone downside. So now we slip into this demand zone and likely touch 39. Just likely. We've only been in 39 this year around September and probably around May. Those are the times we've been, and each time we've been there, the price has eventually rebounded and gone up because Bitcoin dominance went up. So sometimes when this Bitcoin dominance starts going up, if this is sustained, by the way, for the next 3 days, Bitcoin price will start to react, because what it says is that people are moving money into Bitcoin. And once people start to move money into Bitcoin, the price will start to react again. In terms of where's this stuff? Sorry, I was looking for the weekly. Yeah, I wanted to show the historical levels. So this level we are now, we've only been at this level before this year in April 2018 and January 2018, this green level. And that's why I marked that level out, because anytime we get here, it's usually an indication that something is about to happen. Either we're going to explode into a massive altcoin system, or Bitcoin price is going to explode. So that's those are the correlates that tell the story of where the market is likely to go. And again, if I look at the overall market cap, the overall market cap is also sitting at a key point of support as well. This was the top. This region was the top in April and May, was the top in September. We broke through that top now, and we're now using that top as a support. So again, from basic trading theory, what this means is that this level has now become lower level. This level that used to be the top level back in April and May has now become resting level. So when price takes off from this level now, I have that chart somewhere. Yeah. When price takes off from this level now, we can expect that we will almost double in overall market cap, because from 2.2 is showing that we have the capacity to get to almost 4 trillion in overall market cap. So these are the indices that where the market is likely headed, both in the near term, in the medium term. That's really what I wanted to discuss in terms of relations with Bitcoin. I think we've done well for time. It's just 8 o'clock. If you have any questions, please unmute your mic. Unfortunately, the guys on Instagram got completely annihilated today because of technology. So if you have any question, you can type it in, or you can unmute your mic. Otherwise, I'm happy to let you enjoy your weekend. Okay, I think we're good then. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Doc.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Why is it that anytime that